Well, I think that's a great question, and climate change comes up almost every day, and I'll explain how. Climate change for us is the extreme weather events that we're having caused by climate change, in addition to the effects that we're feeling from sea level rise, which is more of a slow progression that occurs over time. You put the two together, and when things don't work just right, you can have a pretty significant event. The more frequent high tides, which will leave nuisance flooding on the streets, but also what people maybe or maybe not connecting is that the extreme weather precipitation events, the extreme rain events that we're having, if you couple those with those extreme high tides, you could go from what was a nuisance flooding event 5 years ago to a flash flooding event today, and it can happen very quickly. Well, actually, that's another great question, because you're really hitting on what we can do now to prepare for climate change. What we should be doing now, not even to prepare, what we should be doing today for climate change and its impacts. We have a great county emergency management program where there's all the information that any citizen would need, but the challenge really is getting to all the different communities in Charleston. Charleston is a very diverse community, and diverse meaning different geographic locations, people from Charleston, people not from Charleston, a wide range of economic backgrounds, and all of those different communities bring unique sets of challenges with them in order to prepare to move out of the city in case we need to do that. And the key there is that people have a plan. We cannot overemphasize that. As I just spoke about a moment ago, our many different populations, some of them have it very, I don't want to say easy, but they can more easily prepare. They have the means, they have a place to go, they have a family, they might have family members in the area that they can get out of the city should they need to, and it's quite easy for them to do that, or easier. Then you have individuals who are new here, who may be elderly, who may have disabilities, who maybe have no means of getting out of the city, and that presents someone on the complete other side of the spectrum. And then there's plenty of folks in between, not to mention our college students and our 5+ million visitors a year we have here. Well, I think from an emergency management standpoint, one, we can influence, or we can help to influence and inform planners as they look at new developments within the city, as we look at road issues that are in the city. You just mentioned the evacuation, but also there's things like informing the citizens about flood insurance issues, about having their home insured for floods in case we do have an event, and we're going to have an event. We're going to have an event, and if we do, having that insurance is so important. But also to look at more intermediate things. How might you raise your house a foot or two above the base flood elevation, so that what today might be an event on your house, maybe if you take some of those actions won't be. Those are not inexpensive, and I don't say that, just very easily, but there are people that may want to take those actions. 1 inch of water on your doorstep, today it's not coming through your front door. Tomorrow it's tore up all the rugs and furniture in your living room. I would say that within the city of Charleston, all of us within city government work closely together. My job is a relatively new job, so we're still finding our way into that. But I work very closely with a number of other city department heads on some of those issues. So yeah, we're in the discussion almost daily. I think that's probably our biggest challenge, is that as you go across those spectrums of communities, some people are very comfortable and looking out for that disaster, if they have the means, is something that's not really on their plate. Likewise, if they may be on the other level of that economic spectrum, they have other challenges day to day, and they may not be thinking about that once every 25-year event. So you've hit what our challenge is how do we reach those communities and how we have an impact on what they do for the future. Well, I think we work closely. As you know, the City of Charleston has a very, very close relationship with all of its community leaders in the different neighborhoods. You just mentioned Mr. Lawrence from the West Side. Mr. Lawrence and I know each other. We've worked together. Yesterday I put a package together for him. So there is that close relationship that we have. We also have the Mayor's Council that Mayor Riley started many years ago. 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I did a presentation to that particular group of all those community leaders. So we are getting in, and every year I do some presentations to different, but I can't do 108 a year. Well, I think in Charleston we're very fortunate because we are on a lot of people's radar for what's happening. And within the city, we've got a number of organizations here. I work very closely with the scientific community, South Carolina Sea Grant community. I work very closely with the state SCEMD, but also you asked about other communities. All of the communities around us here, we're very closely aligned talking about these issues as well as other emergency management issues. Well, the Charleston's Resilient Network is a local network formed by people in the region following a Department of Homeland Security critical infrastructure exercise that was focused on sea level rise. And a group of us came together from the scientific community, South Carolina Sea Grant, folks from the city, there were folks from private industry, folks from the critical infrastructure community, and we decided that we in Charleston, we're going to stay together, we're going to keep this group together so we can find out what the best science is that will affect our area and that we can get that information out to the people that need to get it. So we've been together for almost 2 years now. We've done very well in terms of putting information together. We've been successful on bringing some grants to the city that are going to help our citizens better understand what their threats and risks are. And we're very excited about a lot of that information over the next year or two being able to see the fruits of our labor.